Yes, elephant in the room. The beard has got some colour. You're not looking wrong. It has gone a bit sort of pinky. Um, that was down to, just to clear the air, it would be Halloween. I had all the red blood on my face and it stained my beard, so I'm going to have to shave, I suppose. But no time this morning. Now, let's see who we've got in the workshop. Let me get set up. Just hang on a second. Oh, we've got a nice pie today. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Right, we're on. Jim K, hello, good morning, Jim, and thank you for your time on the phone earlier on this week. It was a great chat, and I pulled you away from work for quite some time, so I am sorry. Roger Heaps, good morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Roger. Welcome back, sir. So just the three of us. It's going to be a very cozy little live stream, isn't it? Oh, so the last couple of weeks, man, it's been a whirlwind. It really has. Where do I start? Well, I suppose I start after the live stream. So we carried on with the deck, I think it was. Or was that scrap? I don't know. Anyway, in summary, after the live stream, I had 3 days remaining of my holiday. And we pushed hard to get some more deck done. We've also been cleaning out the bottom of the garden. Now, down the garden, there are many, many pallets of stuff, old parts, and old engines, and all sorts of stuff. And we've been going through it because, I wanted to go through it. It was a real mess down there. It was about 25 pallets, all stacked up in various, various states of rottingness. Made a terrible mistake. Some of those pallets had cardboard in. There were cardboard boxes, and ants love cardboard. And there was some other wildlife in those pallets as well. Specifically one of the pallets we brought down, it had just been covered in a tarp. It wasn't a pallet box like most of them are. It had been packed in 2019. Been down the garden 6 years. Was in a terrible state, and had a blue tarp on it, and it had some pallet wrap around it. And I thought, this one looks pretty dodgy, and it doesn't smell too good either. But anyway, we dug into it. Mrs. Mechanic was helping take the tarp off and stuff, and we got that pulled away, got all the pallet wrap pulled off, and it was mainly engine parts, but there was a couple of cardboard boxes, and there was a blue fish box down the bottom. A plastic. If you don't know what a fish box is, it's like a plastic box about a foot high, 8-inch high sides, and that was full of engine parts. And there was some cooling fans on top, and the cooling fans have got a breather pipe on them, and the breather pipe is sort of a pinky color usually. And I was just pulling the coolant pipe, the cooling fans off. They're going to go to the tip. No need to keep those. And I thought I saw something. I thought I saw a tail, but then I thought, well, nah, it must just have been the pipe off the cooling fan, right? Let's not worry about that. Chuck them in the back of Larry the Carry, and went back to look in the fish box. But the little pink tail thing was still there. And I'm like, oh no, I know what that is. So I looked at Mrs. Mechanic, and she says, yeah, this pallet, I'm stepping back. This pallet stinks. And it did. We had gloves on, all that kind of stuff. So, we were prepared. So I reached for a bit of wood, and I'm going in armed, right? And this, obviously, it's a rat, right? It's a rat. And I could see the tail, but because of all the engine parts, I couldn't get to the rat. So I'm sort of just holding position, waiting for him to move. Bit of a standoff, really. Waiting for him to move so I can bat him on the head with the bit of wood, right? That was the plan. Killed loads of rats over the years. I've been pretty good at doing it, actually. Pretty quick. Anyway, old Ratty, it wasn't an old Ratty. He was quite a young one. He wasn't full size, and he was quick. Man, he was fast. And he decided to make a bolt for it. and he worked his way up through the metalwork, popped his little head out, out of the top of the, not very good at rat impressions, out of the top of the metalwork, and there I am, full beating session on, in the area of Mr. Ratty. But, there was so many bits of metal in the way, I couldn't get a proper hit. Anyway, he decides to, exit fish box, and he jumps. He jumps about 3 foot in the air. Mrs. Mechanic screams and runs back to the kitchen, and then he lands back on the pallet and runs off towards the workshop. And the doors are open. He can't live there. So I'm running after him, and the workshop's full of motorbikes. I can't get. He runs under the motorbikes, goes under the roll cabs, and I haven't seen him since. So I'm like, oh shit. So go back the pallet, thinking all is well, starting to take more stuff off. Another one runs out across the garden, goes under the deck. Luckily, the kitchen door was closed. Mrs. Mechanic at this point still stood in the porch. She doesn't want to come anywhere near that pallet until she gets the all clear. So I'm like, no, come on, we've got to get to work. We've got shit to do, right? So, come back to the pallet. So she starts making her way back to the pallet. I'm lifting more stuff off. Yeah, you guessed it. A third Mr. Ratty jumps up out of the pallet, not quite as high this time, and then legs it off down the garden. I mean, come on. That was enough excitement for one day, I'll tell you that. And of course, there was a nest, right? There was a nest in the pallet. I had all that to clear out. Luckily, I had the gloves on, right? And I made sure there was no cuts in the gloves. Straight in the bin bag, tie the bin bag up, holding your breath while you're doing it. Nasty stuff, right? And nasty stuff. Anyway, the good news is that's what we've been doing, clearing out quite a lot of those pallets, and I think we're about 6 left, so we're not far off. We're not going to get any more done now because, hey, we're leaving for the South Island. But the deck did suffer because of it. But to be fair, we've had some really adverse weather recently, last couple of weeks especially. They've had Roger, for example, has lost all power for 3 days down in Invercargill. We've had some torrential rain here, really, really heavy rain. So we've tried to pick the days where it's been raining hard just to do, these pallets and to get them processed. And it's really good. We've managed to thin it right down. There's a lot of stuff that I just don't need anymore, or it's been wrecked because of the rain and things. So we've done a few runs to the tip, a few runs to the scrap metal place. Been pretty good, actually. Pretty good. A few pennies in the pocket. And the deck we probably did, well, I was back at work on Wednesday, don't forget. So we only had 3 days there. And then we had the weekend, which, we carried. Well, the weekend was a long weekend. That's right. That was the long weekend. So we had the Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday was Labor Day. So we did the pallets. Oh, in fact, actually, on the Saturday morning update, remember that lawnmower deck from the John Deere tractor lawnmower thing from one of the neighbours? Well, Atle came round on the Saturday morning. And he said, have you done my deck? And he looked, it'd been here a year, right? The deck had been here a year. And he said, have you done my deck? And he's been super patient. And I said, Atle, I haven't. I've been busy doing my deck, but my wooden deck. And he's like, oh. I says, look, I tell you what, why don't you come back? Give me an hour or so. Let me get the workshop opened up. Come back, and then we'll crack on. We'll get it done for you. And I'm thinking, shit, where are all the parts? So anyway, found the parts, luckily. Found the deck. Ben had fixed the deck. He'd welded it all up, finished it off, painted it. Got it up on the table, and then it was the puzzle time, right? Because they're not the simplest things to put back together if you haven't worked on it for a year. Luckily, I did take some photos, and of course, we had the original video, and we were able to work it out. Got it all buttoned up, and then he took it away on his little trailer behind his tractor lawnmower. Very happy. Got that out of the way. So we only really had like the afternoon to do pallets on the Saturday to strip those down. I think we got 2 or 3 done. That was the day of the Mr. Ratty, I think. Sunday, we carried on. We smashed out quite a few that day. It was really good. And then the Monday, we said, right, we're going to do deck on the Monday. But man, the heavens opened. It was really, really wet. But we got a bit done. Not a lot. It was cold as well, and it was windy, so it was blowing the rain in, unfortunately. And then this last weekend, yesterday, full bore on the deck, got another 8 planks done. That's not one single plank, that's the full width of the deck. 8 more rows done, so to speak. So as you can see from the thumbnail, we're way over halfway. We're probably, well, I've only got about 20 planks left, so we potentially could have done another 10 rows because it's 2 planks per row approximately. But we just ran out of time. We didn't finish till 8:30 last night. We were knackered. Even the neighbours were telling us to shut up, making too much noise, Andy. So we had to just give up and pack up, but I am knackered. I didn't sleep very well either. Mrs. Mechanic did a chicken chili wrap. Never again. Oh, never again. Not going to happen. It's bad. Bad. Really bad. But anyway, I think all of that's gone now. And then during the week, work time. So first week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Second week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Absolutely flat out, full bore on admin. Day one, the Wednesday from 2 weeks ago, 451 emails processed in one day. Wow, that is got to be a record for me. My hands literally hurt from all the typing. Come tea time, when I gave up about 6, I think it was. I was just, brain was frazzled. Thursday, vehicle reports and credit card expenses. Get all those cleared out of the way, back to emails, obviously more come in. And then, of course, the Friday, much the same, just general admin work. I think I managed to make a start because I hadn't finished the PDI audit. I did some more work on that, and I've been doing that this week, plus admin and stuff. So, safe to say, I'm caught up. Obviously, there's other work to do, but the most important stuff is all done, which is a bit of a godsend, to be fair. So, for those that have just joined us, apologies for the beard colour. Some of you may be thinking, Andy, what the hell's going on? I did broach the subject right at the start of the live stream. Obviously, Friday night was Halloween here in New Zealand, and we do like to get, into character for when the little rugrats come round to the house. I was Dracula. I had lots of blood all over my face and been eating people. And of course, it stained my beard, so it's not good. It's not good at all. May have to have a shave and start fresh. Don't like shaving though. Andy looks really different when he shaves. It's weird. Look a lot like my dad. Don't like it. I like to have the beard. Before we get to the comments, Mum, I know you watch the live streams. So, hi, Mum. Thank you for the emails. I have seen them. I haven't yet replied. My sincere apologies. I might get around to replying to them today. If not, I will do probably on the ferry. Good segue, Andy. More about that very shortly. Where do we get to? Hang on. Let me just rewind the comments. Right, there we go. Okay, we're all right. We're up to speed. Hi, Andy and crew. Carl from Palmerston North. Good morning, Carl from Palmy. It's always balmy in Palmy this day, isn't it? It's not entirely true, but anyway. But yes, welcome to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. This is just a live stream. It's informal chat, a few updates of what I've been up to, over the last couple of weeks. And we do the live stream every 2 weeks, every other Sunday normally, unless I'm on the road. So if I'm on the road, it's normally every Sunday morning, just because I'm on my own, I'm bored. It's nice to have a chat and show you where I am, somewhere in New Zealand, and what's going on. Connor K, Andy! Exclamation mark. I know, this is why there's an exclamation mark, Connor. I get it. Simon, Mr. Rawl, good morning, Andy and crew. Just back from almost a 1,000-mile trip this week. I know, you've been to a cider brewery. Very good. You went somewhere else the other day. I saw that on Facebook. Pretty envious, to be honest. Good man. It's nice to get out and about, isn't it, and take a break. George Bonnie 90. Hello, everyone. Good morning, George, and welcome back to the workshop, sir. Simon, it's time to get a cow cats. I know, the ratting cat. Ooh, yeah. If Marmite had still been here, she'd have looked at the rat and then just looked back at me and gone, she just wasn't interested at all in rats. Now then, I was going to say something then, but I've forgotten what it was. Yes, the cow cats. There's a TDR 250 on TradeMe. Mrs. Mechanic knows there is. It's very, very clean. It's a Japanese import. Well, they say it's a Japanese import, but it's got the steel swing arm. Should be Ali. Japanese one's got aluminium swing arms. So I don't know what's going on there. It's very clean. And it's the same colours and the same year, and it's even got the same rack on the rear as the one that I had. I've got some really cool photos that were taken when I had my TDR. It would be nice to replicate those. But it's a lot of money. And every day it seems to be getting more money. So I think it's going to go out of budget. They fetch a heap these days. Absolute ton of money. Parts are hard to get. Fuel tanks, cranks, crankcases, barrels. Man, barrels are hard to find. Power valves, hard to find. They're not an easy thing to put back on the road. The fuel tanks tend to rot out, unfortunately. A friend of mine, Matt, down in Christchurch, just finished a restoration, a beautiful restoration on one. I'll be seeing that next week. I'll be seeing it for the first time in the flesh, finished. I've been watching the build and helping him with the build. In fact, Ben gave him a fuel tank for it. The fuel tank was wrecked, but he needed a certain part of the tank to weld into the original because it was rusty. And luckily, this tank, that part wasn't rusty. Made an amazing job of it. And like I say, I can't wait to see it. So when this one popped up on TradeMe, I'm like, oh God, this could be the one. Do I just bite the bullet and get on with it and buy it, And Mrs. Mechanic gave me the go-ahead. And I'm like, wow. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. Obviously, if I do buy it, you'll have to see it under a tarpaulin because I can't show you it, which is really frustrating because I'd love to share a bike like that with you. It's my most favorite bike on the planet. It really is. It's the TDR 250, first ever production super motard. And as the legends is, the original prototype was built by a team of engineers at YMC, just under the radar. They just built one, TZR 250 motor, and built a super motard around it. And then they went, wow, this is so good. We should, make a production version of it. And I'm so glad they did. And all the super motard bikes on the road these days, they have to nod to the TDR 250 because that's the grandfather. That's the number one of the road legal versions. There were plenty of like CR500 conversions to super motard, all the motocross bikes. But that was the first road going production, fully homologated super motard, and it's cool. And it's two-stroke, right? It's got power valve and things, and it wheelies lots, and it goes well, and it covers people in blue smoke, which is even better, especially the Tesla people and stuff. Anyway, let me just rewind a little bit. Andy's gone on a rant. Yes, there we go. Connor K, morning, Andy and crew. Had some trouble getting your live stream to load. It is working good now. Apologies, Connor. It did take a while to launch this morning as well, so maybe something's going on with YouTube. Purple Monkey 974. Hello, crew. Big smiley face. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Jim Haynes. So what came first, the mower deck or the go-kart? No, I can tell you now, the go-kart has been here. I reckon 4 years. It's been here longer than any other project. Yeah. It's going to be really good when it's finished. God. In my defense, I had a go-kart when I was a kid. It was an ex-racing go-kart, and it had Continental slick tires and nylon wheels on it for some bizarre reason. and it used to belong to the York Motor Club. And I don't know why they had it. Maybe they went go-karting. But for a very long time, as a kid, I wanted it, and Dad got me it. He found out where it was. It was in a garage, been there for years, in a garage of one of the other members, but it had no engine. So I said, can you get it fixed? So they put a Honda C50 engine in it, but it took a couple of years to get it done. And then it came home, and that was my first vehicle. That was the first engine that I worked on. First carburetor that I ever stripped, the first cylinder head that I ever took off, the first engine that I ever stripped. It didn't go back together, but I did do top end rebuilds first. Bent a few valves until I learned what to do. Replaced points, got the hang of that. Learned not to hammer flywheels or crankshafts. Hey, I was only 12, right? Give me a break. Nobody was teaching me what to do. I didn't know what to do. I made lots of mistakes. Did a 70cc top end swap off a Honda C70. Did that. It was a cool machine, you know. It was a cool machine. Kept ripping the engine mounts out because it was only mounted. In fact, it was mounted through the 4 bolt holes, the threaded bolt holes where the foot pegs on a Honda C50 connect on the underside of the engine casings. Not really designed as engine mounts. And it had a bit of angle iron at the front that was kinked up that went onto 2 of the cylinder head bolts, the little M6 bolts. And of course, slamming it in and out of gear and doing wheel spins and stuff, it caused the engine to rock and kick back. And as I got older, I made better engine mounts for it. I made a chain tension, like on a trials bike. You know, I'd never seen one. I just came up with a design myself of having a tensioned nylon slipper at the back that was pivoted. And that worked brilliantly. I made loads and loads of changes to that go-kart, you know, off my own. I'm just looking at my end of my air compressor. There's something hanging off it. But anyway, I even tried water injection. I know, right? At like 14 years old. Where did he come up with that? I thought, well, there's more oxygen in water. Let's put some water injection and see what happens. Just caused the engine to stall. Obviously, you know, I was putting way too much in, and it was just neat water. It wasn't misted water or anything like that. So, you know, fun and games, right? Fun and games. And eventually I sold that go-kart, and another kid got to have a lot of fun with it. It's cool. So, you know, go-karts. Can't wait to get this one done. Anyway, sorry, Jared. Hopefully that answers the story there, Jim, and a little bit of a story behind it as well. Simon Roll, were the wasps, were the wraps, dinosaur wraps, gives you mega sore ass. That's straight to the point as always. No, they were like a spinachy wrap thing. I don't normally have wraps, right? I'm a more of a burger kind of a guy, but anyway, or a sandwich guy. But Mrs. Mechanic did wraps, and I thought, hey, you know, let's go for it. Let's have a wrap. I don't think it was the wrap itself. I'm pretty sure it was the chili saucy stuff that went on there. I suffer a lot these days from heartburn, stomach acid. In the UK, we used to buy these bottles of Tums. Don't know if they're still available, Simon. Used to buy those, chomp through those on a regular basis. You know, I used to keep them in the car, 2 or 3 bottles. Here you can't get them. They're a different kind of thing, but basically it's just chalk. Basically, it's getting expensive. But you know, some days I can chomp through a whole roll of 10 in a day, and it's not good. Other days I don't take any. It's just weird. Depends what I eat. A lot of things set it up. Garlic. Don't eat garlic anymore. No. Garlic's terrible for it. Love garlic. Can't eat it. Roger Heaps. Puppies coming next couple of days. Ooh, my word, your house is going to fill up. It's going to be absolute chaos. Oh, no. Can you imagine the food bill as those things grow up? I imagine the puppies are going to, you know, once they get to, 12 weeks, 3 months old, they'll be out the door. You'll find them homes. Because if you were to keep them, geez, God, you'd be using the tractor and a pallet to feed them with. It's like feeding horses. Where do we get to? Simon came back with a boot full of cider, lol. Good man. Good man. I can better that. I can. Don't know if I've ever told you this story, but I used to, when I finished college, Loughborough Technical College, in Loughborough, 2-year course, HND in Motor Vehicle Engineering and Management. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Made lots of mates down there. Haven't seen it. Well, I communicate with one or two of them still now. James, Mr. Agger, TVR specialist. Top bloke, funny guy. Did lots of misadventures with that gentleman while we were in Loughborough. Say no more. Jamie knows what I'm talking about. He'll never watch this live stream, so I can say what I like, but he knows exactly what I'm talking about if he ever came across this. Hi, Jamie. Corvette. Nice car. Again, he knows what that means. Nick with his Land Rover. Anyway, I digress. Where was I going with this? Yes, so after I was at Loughborough College, I got a placement on the Patron scheme of the time, which was European work placement. Originally, I was going to go to SEAT in Barcelona. That fell through because I didn't speak enough Spanish. So Mercedes took me on. Mercedes-Benz had an engine and gearbox plant in Barcelona, probably long gone now. They were very kind enough to take me on. And James Stokes, another gentleman from my class at college, he got a placement with them as well. And we learned how to build the 5-cylinder diesel engines that were in the Mercedes vans at the time. They were brilliant engines. We got to choose once we had to build our own engine at the end of it. We did all the little bits on the production line. He taught us how to do everything, how to fit the shells and, do up the caps to torque and fit the heads, to fit the pistons, the ring, everything, right? And on the last week, he assembled all the parts to build 2 engines, one lot on each pallet. And he said to me and James, build me an engine and we'll test it. Oh, shit. So we had to build an engine from scratch. Had all the parts, choose the right shells, choose the right pistons, choose the right rings, blah, blah, blah. Do the valve clearances once they were built up. And then those 2 engines got put on dynos and they were run flat out. I'm not joking. This is exactly what happened. Flat out for 24 hours. He said, if they survive that, that's our test. We're all good. And he's broken English. And they did. They both survived. And he brought the complete engines back into the workshop and he said, now you need to choose an engine number. And he let us put our names as the engine number. How cool was that? I mean, I'm hoping those engines went out into vans. That's what I thought would happen. It'd be very sad if they just got thrown in a skip at the end of it. But, they passed the test. They should have gone into a van. Be long gone now. We're talking now, I was like 21 when this happened and I'm 53 now, so I'm pretty confident that van's well and truly done its job. But still digressing, Andy. Little story for you. I then had to I was in Barcelona for about 3 months, I think it was. And I'd drove there in one of my little Suzuki Jeeps. And I thought, right, I've got to drive home, right? And there's a San Miguel brewery in Terrassa, in the village, the town that I was living in, which was about an hour's drive from Barcelona, 45 minutes to an hour's drive. I often took the train, but I did drive in every now and again. I said about that the better, because there was a bit of a vehicle contact one day. But anyway, it's long gone. I'm sure they hadn't have CCTV back then. And so I thought, right, I'll build a trailer. We'll build a trailer to put on the back of the Jeep. We'll fill it with San Miguel beer, crates and crates and crates, and then we'll drive back to England. So Jaime, or that's the Spanish way of saying James, the father of the household that I was living at, in his cellar, he had a full-blown workshop. We're talking milling machines, lathes, welding gear, everything we needed. So we went to the scrapyard and I bought the back end of a 7.5-ton truck. So the back end of the chassis with the axle and the tires and everything, and built a trailer out of it. So it was way over the top, but it was cheap. It was really cheap. Didn't have a lot of money. I was a student. And I wasn't being paid by Mercedes to be there. I was getting like a grant from the Petra scheme, which was just for expenses, as in food and stuff, really. And I think the family got a contribution for my accommodation. So I got the trailer built, made some nice wooden sides and bits and pieces. A cool trailer, very heavy, way too heavy, really. And it still had the diff in it, right? So the drag was tremendous. But the poor little 1 litre Jeep dragged it over the Pyrenees. But anyway, so went to took the trailer to the San Miguel factory to find out how much this beer was going to cost. It was like, whoa, man, I haven't got enough. This is really expensive. Yeah, because I was buying, I think we bought 500 bottles, right? 500 bottles of San Miguel beer in crates. So I went to a lad called Juan, who was my contact for the Petra scheme. He was the coordinator for all the students. And there was quite a lot of us in Barcelona. We'd meet up every couple of weeks. And I said, I haven't got enough money. I need a flight back to the UK and I haven't got enough money. Have you got an emergency fund? Can you help me? So he gave me some more money. So then I had enough to go and buy the beer, which was great. So we filled the trailer up, and then a couple of days later we left for England, took the trailer along the Pyrenees in the snow, had so many get stuck sessions, so many near misses, made it through the Pyrenees, drove up through France. Or did we go to Santander? I drove through France going down, and then to get home, I drove along the Pyrenees to get to Santander, and then I shipped out of there back to the UK just to cut the mileage down. So we're on the ferry. That's like a 24-hour ferry or something. It took ages to get to England. And then driving up through England, I had James with me, James Stokes. I dropped him off with his dad. He used to rebuild old Ferraris and stuff. Very, very cool. And then got home with the trailer, with the tarpaulin over it, full of beer, all my gear in the back of the Jeep. Epic journey, right? Epic. Took us like 2 years to drink all that beer, me, my dad, and Phil. But yeah, it was pretty damn cool. Pretty cool story. Hope you enjoyed it. And it's real. It really, really happened. Mum's got a photo of the Jeep and the trailer somewhere, I'm sure of it. And we had stacks of San Miguel beer in the house. You know, it's like, Andrew, why would you bring all that back? And when I went to customs, got stopped in customs in the UK, and at that point, luckily, there were no limits to how much you could bring in because it was part of the EU, right? You could just, it was free to go through. But he said, "Is this all for personal use?" I said, "Yes, personal consumption, officer. You're all good." He let me through. Didn't pay any duty on it. But I didn't sell it. We drank it all, so I wasn't lying. But it was a lot of beer. Good fun. Where do we get to? So there you go, Simon. That's my story of bootlegging, bringing stuff back. The Giant. Good evening, Andy and crew. How is everybody? I am knackered. I very nearly didn't get up this morning to do a live stream. We didn't get to sleep till about midnight last night. I did not, because of the chili thing that Mrs. Mechanic made last night, did not sleep very well at all. Purple Monkey. Oh, Richard Perry. Morning, Andy and crew. Big thumbs up. GB badge. She's that one there. Look very nice. Good morning, Richard. Welcome to the workshop, mate. Good to have you back. Purple Monkey. Trying to sell on Marketplace at the moment. Nothing but dumb people and time wasters. Is it still available? Me, yes. Then get blanked. Really? Man, don't you hate tire kickers? Just assholes. For example. Yeah. Jim K. Hydro lock the go-kart. Hydro lock. Oh yes, with the water injection. No, it didn't hydro lock it. It just basically called the engine to stall it. Just put the fire out. I think. I mean, this is a long time ago, and I remember using a windscreen washer pump for the water, which is probably it just drowned the engine, right? It wasn't an injection system or anything like that. I was like 12, 13 years old. I just thought, oh, put water in the engine, it'll go faster. You know, that was the all I thought about. You know, that was the level of the technical experience that I had being a child. It didn't work, so it came back off again. But I do remember drilling the manifold and tapping it. There's like an aluminium 90-degree manifold on the C50s. I remember drilling that and tapping it and finding a little brass fitting to fit the pipe onto. Honestly. Dangerous things when you have a little bit of knowledge when you're a kid. But it didn't do any harm. Yeah, it was fun and games. Roger Heaps, do you still want to look at the valve machine? Yes, absolutely, Roger. I'll let you know. I think I'm in Invercargill for 2 nights. 2 nights I am. So I'll let you know the dates. Simon. And I'm bringing the camera gear down and stuff. So ideally, I'd like to film a demonstration of how to use it. You know, that kind of knowledge is disappearing. I mean, I've got a pretty good idea, but it's nice to see an expert on camera explain how it's used. Because there are some videos on YouTube already of using one of those Valve Master and similar devices, similar tools. But the videos are crap. They're not really very good, to be honest. Poorly filmed or poorly explained, or both. Simon, a traffic warden and a smuggler, you dark horse. God, you've got a good memory, haven't you? Good memory. I was a traffic warden and I was bloody good at it. Kind of not one of the ones that walks down the main roads. I was a car park attendant was the official title. Traffic warden's a bit harsh. Don't think I'd go that far. Apologies to any traffic wardens out there or people that have been traffic wardens. Great, it's a job that needs to be done, right? Connor K, Andy, San Miguel, and Scrap Heap Challenge trailer. It pretty much was. It pretty much was. We had the trailer knocked out in about a week, and a girl at the Mercedes, a woman at the Mercedes factory, made me the hitch. Right? She wrote a program, a CNC. Computer numeric control, CNC, and they call it a CADIA system in Mercedes. She wrote the program and machined me up a hitch. And it was a ring hitch that we bolted onto the trailer. Didn't fail, did the job. Because I had a pin hitch as well as a ball hitch on the back of the Jeep. And we just pin hitched it. So all the way back it was clunking on the hitch. But it didn't fall off, which was great, didn't fail. How cool was that? I don't think I even said thank you. It was just on my desk, done. You know, didn't speak very good Spanish. Didn't even know what department she worked in. I don't even know how it came about that she made it for me. It's bizarre, but it was there. Maybe I was talking to the engine guy and he put the word out, you know, to help me. Because I didn't know where to go to buy a hitch and I couldn't really afford to buy a hitch. I was stony broke at the time. Wade Mayer, Purple Monkey 1984. I have this same problem. Wade Mayer. Oh, that's with the Marketplace, right? Ben's picked up some pretty good patrol stuff on Marketplace, though. Wade Mayer. Howdy, Andy and crew. Good morning, Wade. Welcome back, sir. Good to have you on board. Jim Haynes. Jeez, where did that go? Oh, it disappeared. Okay, right. So that was the last one for now. The pie. What have we got? Well, I was in Taupo, that's how I pronounce it. Some people call it Taupo, but it's Taupo for me. Wild Bean Cafe, get a pie. I think we've done a scrap run. Here we go, Wild Bean Cafe. Dum 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 dum. I know I'm gonna like this. Very distinctive pie. It's got that Go Faster stripe, which is cool. This is a steak, cheese, and jalapeno pie. Now you may be saying, Andy, why would you eat a pie with jalapenos in the day after you've already had chili? Well, I didn't know I was going to have chili chicken wrap last night, and I bought this a few days ago. This has been in the fridge, will be all right, better than the glove box. So I'm rolling the dice. This afternoon could be a big problem. There may not be much getting done this afternoon, but we'll give it a go. They do taste nice, by the way. So, quick structural check. Boom, boom, boom. It feels rock solid, right? Absolutely 100% solid pie. Even the pastry on top's hanging in there. We're all good. So let's get this in the pie warmer now. And then it's warming up and I can have my breakfast. 3, 2, 1. Boom! There we go. Okay. Right. Oh, God. Legs don't work. I know, I'm getting older. Okay, into the pie warmer. Now, Mr. Ratty can't get to this pie warmer because it's inside this cupboard. And there's no way Mr. Ratty's going to get through there, right? And this is pretty thick steel, so he's not going to bite his way through either. So 23 minutes, job done. Okay, so we can go out, if we're very careful, we can go outside and look at the deck. I know you like to go outside. We know that the internet's going to be okay. Holy crap, I moved a quad bike. Can't see that. This is going to require some... Whew, there we go. Right, we're in. Travel the tractor. I think if I do that, you can see some of the bikes. Because we've got no... There, look. They're all under the... There's 10 bikes there. All under the wonderful, amazing side port. Absolutely brilliant it is. Okay, so the deck. I know you've seen it already, but we've got a bit more done, so it's nice to give you an update. I'm doing these back bits last so I can use all the cut-offs. Only need short bits for that. We've got a drain down there, so that'll need a panel that you can lift out. There's another drain over there. That'll need a panel that lifts out. But it's coming on, isn't it? Eh? It's coming on. It's looking nice. Very happy with it. Now, you might say, oh, Andy, you've got a gap, right? You've got a gap. I know I've got a gap. There's going to be a bit like a skirting board type feature around here with 45-degree slants on it. So this will be wider and it'll hide all these little gaps. The other problem with timber is it shrinks as it dries. It's not like steel, right? It shrinks when it dries out, and of course you end up with gaps. So as we've built this, we've been using the woodworking clamps in expansion mode to push the planks tight, really tight, before we screw them down to try and minimize the gaps as things dry out. You can just see, if I go up here, look, I don't know how the picture's going to cut. You can maybe just see there's some little tiny gaps starting to develop as the wood dries out, but you know, it's as good as we can make it. So we've got probably, I don't know, we're over halfway, but we're only just over halfway, aren't we? You know, there's still a lot of work to do. Right, be very careful with the camera. And we use these noggins, we have to use these little extra pieces here to put the clamps on sometimes, because they're not long enough to go, in some cases, to go to the next parallel beam. But it worked out really well. Very, very happy with that. A lot of work, a whole month's work, to be fair. Now, how am I going to get back into the workshop? This is going to be great, interesting stuff. Okay, if I do that, I can do that, that's okay. I can do that, and then we can do this. There we go, look at that, that was cool. Whew, I think you've still got a job, Andy. Right. What else? Workshop's still a tip. I've had a bit of a tidy up this morning, putting things away. And that's today's job, to be fair. If we come over here, move some stuff out of the way. Bom, bom, bom. Bom, bom, bom. So many roll cabs. That's my wiring, electrical roll cab, by the way. That's the newest one. Can you tell how grubby it is? All right, so in here, in this roll cab are all my ROV servicing parts. So oil filters, spark plugs, brake pads, all that kind of stuff, ball joints, wheel bearings, brake discs, you name it, they're all in there. And there's about, I don't know, $6,000-7,000 worth of parts in that one roll cab. That's my buy price. And I don't really service very many of the ROVs from the surf clubs now. I haven't had one through the door for 6 months. So I'm pretty sure that they are now getting them serviced elsewhere, which is fine. It's not a problem. I've done it for 8-9 years. So this to me now is redundant stock. So me and Mrs. Mechanic have to go through that. And there's other parts around as well. Make a list of everything that we've got onto a spreadsheet. And then one of the dealers down in the South Island has agreed to take it all off my hands at his buy price, so it doesn't cost him anything extra, but it allows me to liquidate my parts stock, which will be a bit of a bonus, and that money can go to something else a bit more useful than just being parts that I'm not going to use. So thank you very much, Alistair. Really appreciate that. So we'll get that done today. Oh yes, right. So you remember we made the winch to go on the trailer, tested, proved, brilliant, and that was done because I have a lathe to collect. Well, let me talk to you about the lathe. So we'll go back to the bench. A little bit of a story for you. Okay. So the lathe. The lathe is at a college in Auckland. There's 3 of them, right? And the reason why I know of this college and I know that there's a lathe there is I bought a couple of pillar drills. One's over there and Ben's got the other one. Both work brilliantly. Goodbye. So when I was picking up the second pillar drill, I made an offer on the lathe and it was accepted as a bandsaw as well. That also does vertical cutting as well as horizontal. So I thought, great, we'll have that. It needs a new blade and setting up and stuff. And I think the vice needs repairing. But, you know, overall, bargain price. And we've already picked up the parts, the accessories for the lathe already. They're already here. And the collection of the lathe has been delayed because the only access door to get the lathe out is a roller door that opens up into a covered canopy area. And in that canopy area, some of the students are doing some wood carving. And these are great big, long, hardwood poles that they're busy carving up in the local tradition. So the guy that sold me the lathe said, hey, you can't pick it up just yet. They need to finish the carving. It should take about a month. Well, this was August. It's now 1st of November. And I've been messaging the guy and I said, look, I'm on holiday for a month. I'm at home, so I'm not really traveling to Auckland. So I'll have to pick it up during that 2-week window before I go to the South Island. So I gave him the dates and I haven't heard back. Now, he was never very good at response times on his texts anyway. But he hasn't replied at all. And I said, look, you know, if I'm going to come up to Auckland during this 2-week period, I can do that before I leave for the South Island. If not, it'll have to wait till I get back, which is like a month later, 3.5 weeks later. But he hasn't even said, okay, we'll make sure it's ready for you when you get back. I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up then. There's been zero communication, which is starting to make me think, is it a scam? Because I've already paid for the lathe, right? I paid for it because it was a good deal. Paid for it, got that. I like to do that when I've got the money. That's when I'll pay. If I leave it for a month, I might have spent it on something else, like TDR 250, for example. So there's a little alarm bells just started to ring, and I'm very tempted to call the college to find out if possibly this young gentleman is selling off college assets without their knowledge. That would be a major concern. And of course, it is a possibility. And it may also be the reason for this delay, or why there's more of a delay. I don't know. So I'm just being a bit wary. You know, I mean, if the college does things right, they wouldn't want to have. I mean, it's a great lathe, and I want the lathe, right? Don't get me wrong. That's my primary aim, is to get the lathe picked up. But if there has been some kind of some shenanigans going on, then I'm quite sure that and I can prove everything. There's enough emails, screenshots, bank account payments and stuff to prove where the money went, who actually received the money. You know, I'm pretty sure the college would reimburse me, but it's not good, is it? It's not good at all. So I'll keep you posted on this. Hopefully he will come back to me in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to give him a couple of weeks from my text. If he hasn't replied, I'm going to the boss. And then we'll know what's going on. Not good. A little bit disappointed because, to be fair, there's a possibility that the pillar drills might have to go back, right? Because they didn't belong to him. I don't know. It'd be a lot of messing around, but I don't know what's going to happen. But, you know, it's life, isn't it? There's always people out there trying to scam you. Where do we get to? Oh, here we go. Jim Haynes. For the older brands of valve-facing machines, other than grinding wheels, they have been discontinued for so long there won't be any parts available. So I hope it's in usable condition. The one that I've got is in usable condition other than the drive belts. The drive belts are very badly perished. I know you can still get the wheels. Simon's found some grinding wheels for sale. So I'm pretty sure we can still source grinding wheels for it. I was thinking the other day, this one, the aluminium casting catchment cup, I suppose you'd call, for the fluid that you put on the wheel, has broken off. And so when you do use it, it sprays crap everywhere. It's a bit annoying. I very much doubt I'll be able to find another casting for it. But I'm thinking, well, it's not very often I'm going to be grinding valves. So maybe I can make something up which will do a similar job, just out of some folded aluminium, you know, and it'll drain back into the tank from there with a little pipe. Or I can just live with it. I don't know. It's not a major concern. The biggest concern for me is getting a wheel for the other end, a tapered wheel or a number of different wheels, selection of wheels, and some drive belts for it. And then once that's done, she's usable. The only downside is it's quite a big, heavy tool. It only gets used very, very infrequently, and it takes up a chunk of space in the workshop. So I can understand why a lot of people get rid of it. I want to use it. I've got to do the DR200 top end rebuild. I've got all the parts for it. So we'll be using it during that. If the valves have got enough margin left to be reground, I don't know. If the valve, the top of the valve stem is damaged, which it may well be, it's a problem with those, then I may need to replace the valves anyway, in which case we won't need to use the grinder, but we'll do a demonstration on it. If need be. If not, then I'm going to film, you know, if the film that I've got planned in Invercargill turns out, it's, you know, it actually ends up happening, then that will be enough. I don't need to do any more, but I'm not looking to sell the machine. I want to keep it for life, but I need to come up with a plan of how I'm going to store it. Where's it going to live where it's easily accessible, but not in the way? That's always a fundamental part of this workshop, is trying to find homes for stuff. And as you can see, we've got all the woodworky stuff in here, which is a real pain moving it around. Eventually, when we get the other shed built, it'll all migrate up there with the air compressors and stuff and a lot of the bikes, and it'll be a lot better. Anyway, but you're quite right, Mr. Haynes. You really are. Jim K, so much room for activities. It's brilliant. It really is brilliant. Simon, what you staining it with? Old engine oil is free, but smells review. There's no way Mrs. Mechanic's going to let any old engine oil go anywhere near that. It will get stained. Mrs. Mechanic's decided to do that. So she'll go and get some stains, some little sample pots. She'll grab some little cut-offs and she'll come up with a plan. I don't know yet. But yeah, it's going to get stained, I'm sure it is. Because otherwise it marks too easily. Simon went round the magic. The plough roundabout, Hemel Hempstead today. That was an experience. 6 roundabouts on one big roundabout. Yes, I have been there. It was an early Sunday morning. I'd only just passed my driving license, got my car license, and I was down there in Dad's Nissan 1-ton pickup. It was a blue one. We used to use it for doing dealer transfers, picking up cars from other dealerships, swapping cars, that kind of thing. Travelled all over the country in that truck. That's sort of the vehicle that I sort of cut my teeth on long distance driving. And I was with Ollie. I remember distinctly. I think we were heading down to Penzance or somewhere to pick up a Renault Master. I think that was the trip. I could be getting it mixed up with another one. I did lots of trips, but it was an early Sunday morning, and we got to this. I was driving up to this roundabout, and I saw the sign, the big roundabout sign, and it had the big roundabout in the middle and all these little ones, and I'm like, what the hell? What do we do here? But when you get there, it was flat. It was just painted roundabouts. I'm like, there's nobody around. I'll just go straight across. We want to be over there. Look, that's our final exit over there. So I just drove a straight line across the whole thing to the exit I wanted, and off we went. I didn't try to concern myself about going around all the various little roundabouts and big roundabout. It's just like, that's just way too much for a Sunday morning. But yeah, what a nightmare. I couldn't imagine what it would be like on a busy day. It would be just a nightmare. I would have no idea what to do. If you lived there, I think you get the hang of it. But for somebody that doesn't live there and hasn't experienced that kind of stuff, that's some serious shit going on there. So hopefully, Simon, you didn't break any laws. DM, I have a question about mechanics tools. Okay, can anyone tell me why I'm new to auto tools? Why what? Okay, why what? What are you asking about mechanics tools? And we'll all chip in and help, I'm sure. Mr. Haynes, DM above, needs to be blocked. Oh, okay. We can do that, Jim. Remove. Oh, not that one. So, that one. Hide this user from this channel. I've done that. Cool. I've done something technical on the computer. How cool is that? Okay, thanks, Jim. Right. So, I've covered everything to date. So, Andy, what are you doing next? Well, I'll tell you. Today, for the rest of the day, yes, we've got all those parts to go through. That has to happen. And we've got to box them all up with a current list of what's in there and a current value. So we know roughly what's so it's all accountable and done properly. And then they can just tick them all off as they do it. I've got a trailer to unload. The little trailer's got some of the PCB. Is that right? The containers that we bought. We put the scrap metal in. Worked brilliantly. Poor old Trevor the tractor was working hard with us. They were bloody heavy. For a couple of them, I had to get Mrs. Mechanic to pull the lever back, the hydraulic lever on the tractor, to lift the forks up. And at the same time, I had to lift the pallet up as well myself. And we managed to get it just high enough to get it on the trailer. So, yeah, Trevor was operating way beyond his design specs, getting that scrap on the trailer. So I've got those to unload. I've got to put both spare wheels in the back of the ute because that trailer is going to the South Island. Oh, pardon me. That's last night's tea, I'm sure. So it'll be covering about 4,000 kilometers. And on the return trip, it's bringing back Mrs. Mechanic's Suzuki Swift. I was going to call it Voldemort, but it's not called Voldemort. It's called something else. I've forgotten the name of it. It's just slipped my memory right now. Anyway, so we'll bring that back. Youngest daughter, Eloise, has been using that car for the last few years, but she's now bought her own Suzuki Jimny. Yay! She's part of the Jimny family. Good job, Ellie. Very, very pleased for her. She bought a Sierra version, which is the same as ours, the one with all the toy bells and whistles. A white one, believe it or not, white roof, white bodywork. She got a roof rack on it and an awning and a little ladder up the back door, I think. You know, looks nice. Can't wait to see it in the flesh. So yeah, she sort of pushed the boat out and she wanted her own car and she wanted a Jimny and she got one. I'm very, very pleased for her. Very pleased. And then on the final part of the trip, when we get back from the South Island, I think Mrs. Mechanic's going to have to drive her car for the last few hundred kilometres because I'm going to swing by the timber yard and pick up some more decking timber. Now, it's only the small trailer, but luckily the decking timber is not 6 meters long. It's about 4.5. It's a 10-foot bed, 3-meter bed. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit sticking out the back, but in New Zealand, you can put a little flag on the back on the overhang timber and you are still within the law. I don't know what the maximum overhang is. I'll have to check that out, but I think we can slide enough of it forward into the A-frame of the trailer to get around that, hopefully. Because I reckon I'm going to need about another 25 lengths. So as soon as we're going past the timber yard, or it's very close to the route we're taking, we will swing by and get that. It'll save another trip. Why wouldn't you, Andy? Exactly. So, Monday morning, early, with everything loaded and ready to go, we will be leaving home 7 a.m. I reckon it's going to have to be, because things happen slow with trailers on. And it's a long way to Wellington to get on the ferry. The ferry, I think we've got to check in latest is 1 p.m. So it doesn't give us much of a window to get there. It's a fair trek. Getting to Picton about tea time, I think it is, from memory. Staying in Picton, and then we're over to Nelson, a couple of days in Nelson, and then through Hammer Springs. That's a long drive to Hammer Springs, staying in Hammer Springs for the third night. So 1 night in Picton, 1 night in Nelson, 1 night in Hammer Springs. And then we cut down to Rangiora. Got a visit there, into Christchurch. We're in Christchurch for a few days, so I'll drop the trailer off at Matt's because the hotel I'm staying at can't cope with trailers at all. So we'll drop the trailer off at Matt. And then when we leave Christchurch, we'll go and pick the trailer up and then carry on. Head south. Down through Ashburton, Timaru, Oamaru, High Sheldon. Gonna pop it, staying in Oamaru for a night, and then down to Balclutha, and then Gore, Invercargill, a couple of nights in Invercargill, and then up to Queenstown. In Queenstown, I think for 4, maybe 5 nights, because it's over the weekend, so we'll get to see Ellie, pick up the car. And while I'm in Queenstown, I'll be visiting Wanaka, Cromwell, and then after Wanaka's the last visit, I think on a Tuesday, I've got to do some training in Wanaka as well, and then it's a long haul evening drive to Timaru, staying in Timaru, visiting Timaru, and then up to Ashburton, visit Ashburton. Still a visit to do in Christchurch, maybe 2 visits in Christchurch, and that's week 3, and then finally up to Picton on the Sunday, stayed in Picton again Sunday night, on the ferry Monday lunchtime to Wellington, staying in Greytown for the last night because it's way too late to drive home on the Tuesday. So yeah, it's 3.5 weeks near us, damn it. 3 weeks and a day, that sounds of it. So yeah, it's a fair trip. Lots to do. I only get to go to the South Island twice a year now, so each visit that I do takes longer. There's more to do because there's been a longer gap. And of course, there's a lot of PDI requirement stuff from the audit to address as well, tidy things up. So yeah, busy. And then I get back end of November. I've got about 3 weeks, and then it's Christmas. So those 3 weeks are there's no more visits to do. They're all done. And then it's just admin work, smashing out the admin work. There will be a trip up to Auckland, hopefully to get a lathe as well while I'm there. Fingers crossed. And then back home, and then just just admin. I hopefully have enough leave, to have a couple of weeks off over Christmas. That's the plan. We will see. Oh, Roger Heaps. Maximum overhang is 4 meters from the rear axle. Guy, you guys know your shit. You really do. That's perfect because the rearmost axle on that trailer is quite close to the back of the trailer, so we'll be absolutely fine. 4 meters. That's crazy. Imagine the swing on that. Jeez. Okay. Well, happy with that. Cheers, Roger. Where do we get to? Dun, dun, dun. Simon, sorry, Jim. I let that one through. All good, matey. I know you got me back there, Simon. You're all good. Mr. Haynes, is that the same car you did a small service years ago on the channel? No, that was Team Henry. So when Charlotte, my eldest daughter, was living in Queenstown, she took down Team Henry, little Suzuki Alto, 3-cylinder, 660cc engine, same engine, F6A, as in Larry the Carry. That was the one that we did a quick service on, outside her little flat in Queenstown. Remember that? God, it's fun and games. So no, we brought that one back. Similar kind of trip, basically. We put that on the same trailer and brought that back up the west coast. And that was on the Rescue Charlotte videos. On the Rescue Charlotte, that was a very, very intense trip. Was that one? And from memory, that whole thing came around because there was an ROV in Greymouth, sort of northwest top of the South Island, which had an engine failure. But the owner had decided to let some other mechanic, not a Yamaha mechanic, right, pull the whole vehicle apart, strip all the engine to see what the problem was, and then go, too hard, not our problem, blah, blah, blah. But we couldn't get the vehicle moved because it was in a million pieces. So I had to solve the problem, and solving the problem was for me to go down with the ute and the trailer, gather up all these parts. There was seats, there was dashboard, there was doors were off it, there was plastics everywhere, there was boxes of engine parts just thrown in. And all this stuff was scattered around on the floor in this guy's workshop together with a million other vehicles that were in bits. And then I took that whole assembly parts kit all the way down to Balclutha. That was a single day's driving from up there to that was a long way. Got there just before midnight. The place I was staying at had locked up. They'd all gone home. Unhitched the trailer, pulled out the big stuff from the ute, and then I ended up staying at the motorcycle shop owner's house that night. Thank you very much, Alistair. Appreciate that. Otherwise I'd have been sleeping in the ute, and it was cold. It was very cold. And then swung by up to Queenstown because that was a return trip anyway. Picked up the car and picked up Charlotte and Adam and headed north. And the plan was to get to Nelson, and we did get to Nelson at 3:30 a.m. We got to Nelson. It was a monster drive again. I was so tired. We had like 3 hours. Well, we were supposed to be on the ferry at 6:30 a.m. We're supposed to get to Nelson about tea time. Never going to happen. Way behind schedule for whatever reason. And then I pushed the ferry back to lunchtime, give me a bit more of a lie-in. Did that. Got the ferry, drove from Wellington. The ferry didn't get in till tea time. I didn't get home till about 1:30 a.m. the following day, and I was absolutely knackered. That was a monster trip. Absolute monster trip. That's not what's going to happen this time around. I'm a little bit wiser now. Okay, let's go and get the pie. 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, here we go. Oh, God, back season up. Too much work. Oh, I'm so hungry. Right, steak, cheese, and jalapeno from Wild Bean Cafe. A gourmet pie, no less. Feels good. Feels really good. We'll stick it on the bag because it's about the only clean thing in this workshop, knowing that Mr. Ratty might be living here. I've not heard him, But he did run into the workshop, but I think he must have just had a quick scout round and gone, nah, don't want to live there. No, I can smell the bait. We don't want to be in there because there is rat bait around. And it's still there. It hasn't all been eaten. Oh, cold coffee. Come on, Mrs. Mechanic. I need new coffee. Fresh coffee. Okay, we'll give it a minute just to settle because it's a bit hot. Simon was at the NEC Birmingham on Thursday for a massive crafting show. Oh, that Mrs. Mechanic, I think, would have loved. Don't get her started on crafting. She lives for crafting. We've got a room in the house dedicated to her crafting environment. And now she tells me off for having loads of stuff, right? And I have a bit of stuff. I don't deny that. You know, a lot of it's down the garden or in other sheds. There's a bit of stuff, right? You know, a hoarder. Am I a hoarder? I think a lot of mechanics are hoarders because you know what? This might come in handy one. I know it's broken, but there's still some bits on it that might be useful, so we'll keep it. You know, kind of person. I hate to see waste. So, you know, her craft room, there must be a million individual items in there. There must be. It's absolutely packed from floor to ceiling. There's shelving all around that goes up to the ceiling that's all full. There's a big square table in the middle that's full. Under the table's full. You really couldn't get any more in there. I can't really get around the room because I'm a lot bigger than Mrs. Mechanic. All the gaps between the table and the racking and stacks of stuff as well forward of the racking. She can sort of work her way around. I can't really get in there. To be honest, it's just she has to move so much stuff for me to change a light bulb or move something that's heavy for her. It's packed. So that's what keeps her busy. When I'm away on the road, she likes to do her crafting, and it's a godsend really because you know now that little Marmite's not here, she needs something to keep her mind sorted, and she likes to do her editing as well. And hopefully the next Monkey Bike episode will be done. Fingers crossed, but I don't know how far she is with that yet. But you're right, Simon. She'd have loved that place. NEC Birmingham. I remember years and years and years and years and years ago when I owned Sheriff motorcycles when I was at college, and I didn't do many repairs. I just ran a fleet of various size motorcycles, which I used to hire out. Because there was very few places you could hire motorcycles from back then. And there was a big demand for people to hire a bike, either for like short-term, few weeks commuting, or to learn to ride a bike, and then go and take their test. So they'd rent a bike for a few weeks, get the hang of it, do all the bits and pieces, take the test on it, and then bring it back. So I used to service them up, you know, on weekends. They'd be scheduled to come in on a Saturday. I'd do an oil change and tire pressure checks and just the chain, that kind of thing, and off they go again. But I got invited as a tradesperson to a NEC motorcycle show, and I got to go on the press day. It's like, wow, that's going to be cool. So I went on the press day, and that's when they had all the chicks on the bikes taking the photos and stuff for the magazines. Wow, what a day. As a young lad, that was a real eye-opener. It was very cool. I think a switch flicked in my head on that day. You know what I'm talking about, lads. Anyway. It's terrible. Oh, hang on. Carry on. So yes, NEC Birmingham. I know the bike show's not there anymore, is it? I think it's... Oh, no. Sorry. It was Earl's Court. That's how long ago it was. It's when the motorcycle show was held at Earl's Court. I then went to a later one at the NEC Birmingham, but the Earl's Court one was the press day one. Very cool. And we got invited into all sorts of, you know, the VIP areas for the brands, and had alcohol and free food, and had a good chat. You know, that was a good day. Felt like royalty. Stimulated royalty, should I say. Now then, Simon, back down in 2 weeks for Motorcycle Live. Cool. See, New Zealand doesn't have that kind of stuff. The motorcycle show here in New Zealand at the ASB Showground each year is, in comparison, crap. Really is. Connor K, are the New Zealand ferries still being operated by the same company that runs the trains? Yes, I believe they are. Kiwi Rail. Yes, they are, because the new ferry they keep talking about, because they cancelled it, and I think there's another one being planned. They were deliberating whether the new ferry should have a couple of decks dedicated to train stock, so that the train carriages, the freight train carriages, can be put on the ferry and then taken off at the other end to carry on with their journey. And they were going to try and save some money and not bother doing that. But it's a big part of the New Zealand train network is to have that ferry link for the train carriages. So I think they've finally decided it actually has to happen. Jim Haynes. When you go to a dealership, I know it is to help with troubled vehicles and to give some training. Do you also have to audit warranty, service and parts to be sure it was really the problem and warranty? Yes, very much so. I have to validate every claim, look at all the old parts, ensure that the failure actually existed. Obviously, it's difficult in some cases to be 100% certain, but yes, I have to cite and inspect all old warranty parts. It's a big job. It takes a lot of time sometimes. But the dealers have to box the parts up for each job and label them and stuff. They don't have to keep gaskets unless it was the primary fail was a gasket failure. But in the main, I mean, doing that job now for 8.5 years, in the main, the dealers are exceptionally good at storing the parts and labeling them and stuff for me. Very, very good indeed. When I first started, quite the opposite. But now, brilliant. Can't fault them. Can't fault them at all. Simon, Mrs. Roll has a craft room too. Holy shit. Full of crap. Sorry, craft. Jeez. Sailing close to the wind there, Simon, I'm sure. Mr. Haynes, I'm not a hoarder. I just need more room. Yes, exactly that. Are there really a lot of KIX? Don't know what KX stands for. Jim Haynes. WI birds there, as I have never actually seen one. Okay, you're gonna have to elaborate. I can't crack that code. I'm sure it's code. All right, we have got a Wild Bean Cafe gourmet steak and cheese and jalapeno, and it's a very distinctive pie. It has the Go Faster stripe on it. You easily spot it in their cabinets at the petrol stations. Now, Wild Bean Cafe are not a sponsor of the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. However, should they wish to be, click me an email. Okay, here we go. Now, on this particular example, the pastry is a little bit dry. I can tell you now, they don't suffer from this normally when you eat them straight out of the cabinet at the petrol station. So it may well be a result of going in the fridge and the reheat process. That's going to take more moisture out of the pastry for sure. Not that I'm an expert. Roger Heat sent me attachments. Oh, look at that. Doggies. Nice. Zoe, during a week, hanging out with Houdini in front of the fire today. Best spot in the house. Dogs like that, don't they? They like that. and just hanging out with the cat. How cool. Right, we're going to have another bite. That's where we are so far. Now, I've had a few of these over the last few months, and I know, Andy's bigger than he used to be, and they're pretty good. I think out of the two, I still prefer the standard one without the jalapenos, but some places don't do the standard gourmet steak and cheese anymore. They just do this one. Oh, you can see the cheese. So, I'm getting jalapenos already. This one's quite strong. So, taste, stroke, flavour of the contents. Whew. One more bite. That's pretty good. Now, if we get gristle, the scores are going to come down dramatically. So, definitely taste the jalapenos. Definitely taste the steak. And the cheese, just out of interest, is a bit of a different colour in these ones. You can see it's tainted with the jalapeno sauce. It's not as yellow. In the standard gourmet steak and cheese, it's bright yellow. Whereas this, there's an orangey tint to it. Oh. Oh. Bit gristly. Oh, that's not nice. Get rid of that. I was only joking about the gristle, but geez, we actually found some. Okay, so today's score is on today's pie. It doesn't reflect on any of the previous examples of this that I've had. So with that gristle in there, the meat quality score is going to plummet. Sorry, Wild Bean Cafe, but it is. I'm going to give you a 5 for the meat quality now that we've hit gristle. I hate gristle in a pie. You know, I mean, if you're driving, you're just gonna have to swallow it, right? And I don't like eating crap, to be honest. There's no real benefit eating the gristle. It's not pleasurable, is it? It's not a tasty meal. Okay. So we've marked down the meat. Shouldn't really affect the flavour or the contents. So, whew, it is a hot one. Just starting to sweat a little bit, just there. Wow. Okay, I'm going to give them. It says what it says on the tin, right? It is a steak, cheese, and jalapeno. I'm going to give them an. What should I give? I'm going to give them a 9. It's pretty good on the flavour. Structure Foley Partners. Well, it's absolutely solid. I'm very confident this pie is not going to collapse, so they get a 10 for that. It really is a full marks pie on that front. Yeah, the jalapeno sauce is in the cheese. Runnability check, 45 degrees, 30 seconds. Good 45 degrees there, look. Rotate it round a bit. Absolutely rock solid. I can't see anything about to dribble out of there. So, pretty safe pie for in the car. So, it gets a 10 for that. It's a pass. Pie to crust ratio. So this is contents versus the pastry ratio. So, I reckon there's quite a bit of pastry in there. Yeah, it's not cheese around the outside. That's all pastry. So, the base is pretty thin. That's good. The sides are about 5 mil. And the top is maybe a little bit more than that. So you can see that the pie is quite flat. The top drops down quite considerably. They could have got more in it, basically. It's a little bit underfilled, really, I would say, for a pie. Very stable as a result, but it's a little bit underfilled. So, pie to crust ratio, I'll give them a 7. I think. It could be better. There could be more filling. I don't think there could be much less pastry, but there could be more filling. Now, availability stroke logistics. Well, Wellbeing cafes, they only exist at BP petrol stations. Not all of them have Wellbeing cafes as well, by the way. So, can you order them online? You can. Wellbeing Cafe now does Uber Eats, so you can have them delivered if you're within range of an Uber driver as well. So that's an extra bonus now. That's quite cool. We will give them, you can't order them, you can't get them at supermarkets, you can't get them at dairies, and you can't go onto a BP Wellbeing Cafe website and order them online and them ship them to any address in New Zealand. You can't do that, so they're not going to get full marks. I think an 8 would be more than fair on that. Probably would have been maybe a 7 if it was without the Uber driver stuff. Uber Eats, they call it here. Pastry taste rating. Well, it's a bit crispy, isn't it? A bit dry today. It's all right. It's not great. It's not the best pastry, but it's all right. A little bit dry. Mark them down for that. We've got to do really, haven't we? You know, and the same thing happens if the pie is in the pie warmer for too long. If it's left for hours and hours, they dry out. Go a bit like concrete, unfortunately. So we will give them for pastry, give them a 7, I think, for this one. Okay, another bite. It is super tasty. If you don't like jalapenos, this is not a pie for you at all. It's tongue stingy. Sometimes, jeez, sometimes makes you sneeze. It's eye watery. And if you're not into big, strong curries, and I'm not, I don't eat strong curries, it can make you sweat a little bit. This one's a strong one. The force is strong with this. Okay. Now, personally, and again, I can speak from experience, the version of the pie, the steak and cheese pie with the jalapenos, is not quite as tasty when it's cold. It's weird flavour because it's cold and it's got that spiciness to it, that hotness, but it's cold. I prefer the standard gourmet steak and cheese if I'm going to eat one cold. The jalapeno one just messes with your head because you're going, well, it's burning my tongue, but it's cold. It's like a conflict to me. So what score would I give this pie if I pulled it out of my glove box and ate it cold? 6. I would give it a 6, I think. Packaging design. Standard paper bag, got some printing on it, got the logo on it. That would take me about 3.5 minutes on Photoshop to design. Doesn't take long at all, just drag in the logos, make them the right size, stick them in the middle, send the invoice, right? Easy. So, runny nose now. It is strong. What do I give them for that? We've seen a lot better. It's sort of pretty average, but it's a lot better than a basic paper bag. At least they've put the name on it. They're proud of the pie. So give them a 5. I think run-of-the-mill 5. Recyclable score. Well, it is fully recyclable, but they don't tell us it is. There's no plastic liner on these bags. So they lose a point for not telling us, so they get 9 for that. That's pretty standard. Okay. Post-pie heartburn. Pretty sure there's going to be quite a bit with this one. There's your first burp. And that's definitely jalapeno burp. It is tasty though. Stuffability score Gonna have to wait. Pie server attractiveness. Yeah. It's only a 3. Sorry, Simon, but it really is only a 3. I'm not going to elaborate, but it really is only a 3. Okay, we've got to finish the pie. We're not far off. So another quick look round. Still absolutely rock solid. This is a very easy pie to eat. Totally recommend it. If your other hand is busy on the phone and you're waving your pie around, this is a good pie for that. Other than the fact you're going to sneeze, have watery eyes, get a cold sweat, you know. Other than that, it's perfect. Oh, hang on. We've got some comments. Oh, sorry. Okay. Don't know why it cut the message in half. Kiwi. Yeah, Kiwi Rail. Sorry, Jim. Right. Some more. Mm. The more of these that I have, the more I actually like them. It's actually really tasty. Really, really tasty. So if you go into a Wild Bean, or if you're going past a Wild Bean cafe, if you happen to be in New Zealand, if you've not had one of these pies yet, and you like steak and cheese, it's a good variant. It mixes things up, but be prepared. This one is by far the strongest jalapeno flavour that I've had to date. I don't think it's just because it's Sunday morning. I think it actually is pretty damn strong. Maybe the guy putting the jalapenos in was wanted to play a joke. We'll get Andy Mechanic with this one. Okay, we're nearly there. So, stuffability score. Am I stuffed? Well, yeah, I am, actually. Okay. So, sorry, can't talk. Hit the nail on the head. I'm not still hungry. I'm not over full. It gets the 10. I can't deny it, the 10. It's done the job, right? It's done the job. And none of it's ended up on the floor, other than the odd little speckle of pastry, which is totally acceptable. Post-pie heartburn. I'm going to give it an 8. I know, I can tell you from experience, I'm going to be on those TUM tablets within 10 minutes of the live stream finishing. So I'll give it an 8. If it turns into a natural disaster area, then I'll alter the score to suit. Okay, we've got some arithmetic to do. And all the help that I can get with that is much appreciated, because I'm still a bit knackered. Right, turn around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay. Oh God, we're an hour and a half in. How does that happen? How can I ramble on for an hour and a half? Natural talent for rambling, Mrs. Mechanic says. Okay, 29, 34, 41, 49, 56, 62, 67, 76, 84, 94, 97. So hopefully Andy's got that right. Okay. We'll take a photo. Oh, hang on, I'm going to write the name on. So it was It gets very upset, does my phone. It thinks I've turned it upside down for some reason. So this is a Wild Bean Cafe. Gourmet. Steak, cheese. And how the hell do you spell jalapeno? I did take a picture actually in the store. Let me find that. There we are. That was it in the store. $7.20 now. Very expensive. So, J A L A. Oh, it's not too bad actually. P-E-N-O. Okay, exclamation mark because it was hot. And we were right on here. Very hot. Now, I've done that on this one because it was a lot hotter than what they normally are. So we'll stick him on there. We'll take a picture so it's in the archives. And then when I get some more of those, maybe I'll try and get some in the South Island while I'm there. We'll see. Right, that's now stored forever. It'll go to the cloud. 97. We will go and find out where it ended up. 97. It's not a bad score. Oh, yeah, look. Okay, so it shares the leaderboard with Bake Shack Bacon and Egg, Dad's Pies Pepper Steak, and the Wild Bean Cafe Classic Steak and Cheese. So I've given it the same score as a classic. Yeah, who would have thought? And where's the normal Wild Bean Cafe? Oh, look at that. Wild Bean Cafe Gourmet Angus Beef and Black Truffle. They don't do that anymore. 104. Where's the Wild Bean? Oh, there we are. Look, Wild Bean Cafe Gourmet Steak and Cheese, 103. So it lost a few points because probably the heartburn factor. Oh, and the gristle as well. That will have knocked it back as well, won't it? So pretty consistent scoring, I think. We've done pretty well there because it was a long time ago we did that one. Okay, right, back to the bench. One last cigarette, and then we'll have to sign off, I think. Okay, turn around, 3, 2, 1, boom, camera angles all over the place. Look at that, it's terrible. Just useless. Okay, get rid of that. Boom, boom, boom. Nice pie though, nice pie. I definitely recommend you trying one, I think, to be fair. You should try one, they're good. We've had a lot worse. Don't get me wrong, we've had a lot worse. And it's quite nice every now and again to have a pie that, well, wakes you up. Oh, wakes you up. It's very different. It's just different. Simon spelled out jalapeno for me. Thanks, Simon. You guys are funny. You really are. So, today, in summary, got a bit to do. A bit of tidying up to do in the workshop. Because I know that Ben's coming down to the cottage while we're away, by the way. And I know for sure he's going to come into my workshop. His workshop's great. It's a lovely little workshop, but it's a little bit small. And when he wants to do bigger stuff, then he kicks all the bikes out, which is fine, and he uses our workshop, which is I'm more than happy for him to do. It's what it's here for. It's here to be used, right? And it's great that he can make use of this workspace. It really is, and he loves it. It's very much looking forward to inheriting it, Dad. Yes, I know you are, son. But tends not to leave it particularly tidy. No. His workshop's pretty damn tidy. He puts things away. Good lad. Trained him well. But my workshop doesn't quite get tidied up quite so well. Now, we haven't swept the floor for months. The floor is horrific. We did clear all the swarf off the lathe the other day, so all that aluminium swarf has gone. I got $1 for that. I know, a whole buck. That's about 40 pence in old money. But it needs to be clean anyway, so Mrs. Mechanic just put it straight into a bin bag, and we just took the bin bag. Bin bag probably cost us $1, thinking about it. Anyway, we got rid of it. So I need to have a little bit of a sweep round, a bit of a tidy up, so that when I come back, if it isn't tidy, I can say, no, it was tidy when I left it. You didn't clean it up. If I leave it messy, but it was like that when I went in. So you've just got to just draw the line sometimes so that you've got a good standpoint for discussion. Oh, Jim Haynes, kiwi bird was. Oh, sorry, mate. Was my question, as they are not here in the US. So yes, we do have the kiwi birds in New Zealand. They don't fly. They just run around on the ground pretending to be birds, but they're not really birds. But they are birds. But you know what I mean. They don't fly. They're like chickens, but chickens can fly a little bit. These things can't fly at all. Which lends them very exposed to ground predators like possums and things. Possums are assholes. Oh, we found a dead possum by one of the pallets up the garden. Took Mrs. Mechanic to realise what the furry thing on the ground was. After a while, she went, it's a dead possum, get rid of it. It's still there. I haven't got rid of it. I just put a pallet on top of his head. So that's fine. So yeah, the government has the kiwis are protected birds here in New Zealand, and they're trying to get the population back up, especially in some areas. And there's I think weasels and stoats and stuff. I think they're also predators for kiwis. I'm not that kind of. I don't really get too involved with that kind of stuff. It's just nature, right? They're not happening in my workshop, so it's outside my sort of realm. But they are actively trying to boost population of the kiwi. And if you see a kiwi, it's like a lucky thing. It's an amazing thing to see a kiwi. So I'm told. Mrs. Mechanic's seen kiwis down on is it Herald Island? Is it Herald Island? The one that's just south of Invercargill, just off Bluff. She went there on a walking trip with Ellie a few years ago. Saw kiwis. And possums, I think it was. She saw something. I'm sure it was a possum she saw. Simon, I've got that top for the tool post. Made it last. Made it last. Made it last. Made it at last. Made it at last. Cool. Thank you very much, Simon. Appreciate that. I will keep my eye open for it turning up. I have got post in my PO box, but I've not had a chance to go to Auckland for a very long time and go and get it. So, because I've been on holiday, so I've not been traveling around. So, I'll be up there again early December. So it might be here by then. I'll let you know. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Purple Monkey, 1974. New Zealanders are known as Kiwis. Yes, we are. They are. Sorry, I nearly said we then. Yes. New Zealanders are known as Kiwis for sure. Some parts of the world get very mixed up between Australian people and New Zealanders. And when a Kiwi gets called Australian, they take some pretty serious offence to that. And I'm sure the Australians, vice versa, would get pretty upset if they were called a Kiwi. So they are two very distinct countries, very different. I would not want to live in Australia. Australia, no chance. Been there many times. Very happy to get out. Very happy. Enjoyed my bike ride. I borrowed a bike for a couple of days and rode up north towards Brisbane. That's really the only part of Australia that I've seen is that east coast bit and a bit of inland. I went through the areas where the fires were and stuff. Saw all the devastation. Some of the fires are still going on. Did 2,000 kilometers in 2 days. Just loved riding the bike. It was a great bike that I rode. But no, just dry, dusty, barren, tumbleweed kind of place once you get into away from the main highways. Hot, flies. So many flies. Don't like flies. Wouldn't live there. Uh, it's not in the PO box. It's still in the lathe. No. No, I've got mail, not parcels. I've got just some letters to pick up. Sorry, Simon, I didn't mean that. So I will be going up to Auckland again early December. So if it has arrived by then, I'll be able to grab it. If not, it'll probably be January time. Purple Monkey, I imagine Canadians and Yanks are the same. They probably are, actually, yes. Simon, being a Brit, do you not wind the Australians up about a convict colony? Ooh, somebody had to broach that subject. Yes, all the time, actually. All the time. All the time. It's a standing joke. And it's still funny as far as I'm concerned. There you go. Honest. Fun and games. So, yes, today is going to be busy. Biggest part of today is sorting out those parts to take with us to cash in, because very nice chap, being prepared to take them on board. Doesn't really cost him anything long term. Helps me tremendously. And they service those vehicles like every day. So they're going to soon chomp through those parts. There's not that many of them, to be fair. It's amazing how the cost of the parts soon starts to rack up when you start going through the drawers and you're going, holy crap, these are $100 each. These are $80 each. Wow, there's some money sat here. And it's dead money now. So it's time for me to liquidate that stock. And that'll help. That'll help, with some other bits and pieces I want to do on the deck. It'll help with some other expenses I've got going out soon. So it'll be great to do that, boost the cash flow a little bit. So big thanks to Alistair. Really appreciate it. Jim, I remember from the Fastest Indian movie, yes, I've seen that a couple of times, they said there were no snakes in New Zealand. Have the Chinese imported those there yet? Funny. Are there snakes in New Zealand? I don't think there are any snakes in New Zealand. I've never seen a snake in New Zealand. I could be wrong, but I was told that there aren't any. Who knows? There might be one hiding somewhere. I know just jumping across in Australia, they have what they call the huntsman's spider. Now, I absolutely hate spiders. There's a big one down by the door that I spotted today that I stayed well away from. He's going to die, brake cleaner probably later on today. But the huntsman spiders are huge, right? When I see a huntsman spider, and I've never seen one in the flesh, fortunately, but the first thing I think of is the alien from Aliens movie, right? They're big. That's how Australians describe them, and they look pretty damn big on the photos. And no doubt some of you will Google it now, huntsman spider. But the problem is they're also angry. They're very, very angry at huntsman spiders. They obviously feel very badly done to, and they attack anyone that goes near them. And there's been many cases where there's been huntsman spiders in Australia in the porch to your front door to your house. People have gone to open the front door, and the spider has actively raced towards the human, scared the person absolutely shitless. I think they can bite, but it's not life-threatening bites, but they are nasty things, huntsmen, and just the sheer size of them is, I think, the biggest problem. Another reason to not live in Australia. But the problem is they have now found huntsman spiders here in New Zealand, in Auckland, and I think a couple of other major cities. I didn't know that until recently, and now I'm worried. I don't think they're going to make it here in my lifetime, where I live. But, it makes you think, doesn't it? Things do migrate. They do get to travel because there's so much shipping going on. They can't be 100%. Things are going to get around the world. It's bad. It's really bad. I don't think the Chinese have actively imported them, Jim, to be fair. Jim, the Canadians are there we go, another burp. A very small population of North American population, really, as lots of Canada is open country, so it's sparsely populated. Is Canada? Never been. Was going to go recently, haven't been able to go. I do actively intend to go and do that trip next year. I want to go to the US. There's some people I want to meet, Jim and others, Eric O, for example. So I'll keep you posted on that. Probably with the back end of next year. Oh, cigarette's gone out. All going to plan. Obviously, funds pending. Good. But it should be possible. It should be possible. We should be all right by then. Don't people say in Australia that all kinds of things that will bite and sting and kill you? I think there's 7 things in Australia that actively try to kill you. 7 things, all up. That, animal type, insect type related stuff like crocodiles. Is it alligators? I don't know. Snakes. They've got these spiders. There's other much worse spiders than the huntsman. It's much smaller but much more dangerous. There is in New Zealand what they call a white-tailed spider, and we have come across them. I don't really remember what they look like. Obviously, they must have a white tail. But if you get bitten by one of them, it can be nasty. It can be really nasty. And there's also other spiders here that will bite you and put their eggs under your skin, right? And this is no joke. They do. And those eggs then hatch and the spiders come out of your skin. That's a true thing in New Zealand, and it scares me shitless. It doesn't seem to happen very often. You don't hear many cases of it, but it does definitely happen. Yeah, it's not good. So if that's happening in New Zealand, God knows what's going on in Australia based on the stuff over there. Simon, think there is a place in Kent that has Scorpios due to shipping. Really? Holy crap. Jim Haynes, what kinds of bugs and fish from China now we never had from all the shipping here? It's just the shipping. It's not specifically China's fault. It's just stuff from other countries are coming into your country, and they can't stop it. They can try, but they can't. It's just not viable to search every part of the ship or a plane or whatever it is that's going to transport these things. It's inevitable. That's the problem. Inevitable's the word. Okay, so we're there. We're done. We are, oh my word, 1 hour and 52 minutes of Andy's drivel. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I have been procrastinating because I know I've got lots of work to do. So thank you for that. It gives me a good excuse to do nothing for a while. Well worth getting out of bed this morning. Thoroughly enjoyed the live stream and the questions. We've talked about all sorts of stuff again, haven't we? Not much automotive related, mind you, but it's been a good conversation. Oh, there's some more. John Nuttall, try the Sherwood in Queenstown if you get a chance. Sherwood. Hang on. We will take a photo because I will forget. And Andy is useless when it comes to remembering things. Right, got that. Jim Haynes, we can blame China. It's okay. I hear you, sir. I hear you. Okay. Thank you all for joining. Do appreciate your time. And I will see you next Sunday. All going to plan in Oamaru. I think I will be. Oamaru, Sunday morning. I'll try and find a pie. Okay, crew. Thank you for your time and all your support as well. Much appreciate it. I might hopefully get that video out of the Mangakino Lake hop. I can't see it going out today because I've got too much to do, but once I hit the road, I'll have the evenings and I'll get the editing finished and the video rendered. So that should be out in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Okay, crew. See you next time. Cheers. Over and out.